day, ma. Welcome to the Sun TV. We're happy to meet you today.
Thank you very much.
So, we want to talk to us, comprehensively about the National Social Welfare Program.
We have actually 4 programs in the Office of the Vice President, basically because there needs to be coordination between what happens in ministries. There are a number of programs that have been successful to an extent in many of the ministries. So, in their wisdom, the leadership of this country put the office in the under the presidency. And so I was invited to be special advisor on social investments and to essentially supervise the implementation of 4 programs around the country. NPOWER is a youth employment program between the ages of 18 and 35. They apply on an online platform and we deploy them to work in various sectors around the country. The idea is to get them conversant with what they have said they are interested in, because when they apply, they say it's agriculture, it's teaching, it's health. Once they get their hands dirty, for instance, in agriculture, for the period of 2 years, it's a 2-year program that they get paid 30,000. They will know precisely where they can build their businesses. The website for NPOWER was opened in 2016, and last year we selected altogether 500,000. It's www.npower.gov.ng. We're hoping to open again after the next administration, after the elections. But for now, we've closed for the 500,000 that we selected. We had applications from every single local government. That was interesting. And from every state. And initially, because there was a lot of skepticism, we didn't have that many applications. We only had, in the graduate category, we only had 350,000, and we selected 200,000 and gave all the states. And we had to use the number, we had to base it on the number of applications per state. Right? It was a percentage of the applications per state. So a lot of states that were skeptical, that did not, encourage their youth to apply, found themselves with small numbers. Now, the second time we only opened for 6 weeks, but we had 2.5 million applications, and we could only pick 300,000. The NPOWER program is a federal government program. It's owned by the federal government, and any Nigerian can live anywhere, vote anywhere, pay tax anywhere. The mistaken perception initially was that it has to be indigenes of that state. We encourage the states to set up their own employment programs, but for the federal government, you have to live within that location, because what we pay is 30,000 a month for a period of 2 years. Now, 30,000 will not be able to pay for your accommodation and your transportation if you don't live nearby where you're asked to serve. And they're deployed to schools to teach. They're working in primary healthcare centers, doing enumeration of households, working in farms. And so we're very happy with the outcomes, because already they're saving money from that 30,000, and they're setting up their small businesses. We have, for instance, some ladies in Delta who never had any work for, they said, 4 to 7 years. 3 of them, they did microbiology, they did pharmacy. They've now set up a small lab, and they're doing basic, blood tests for that community, because that community never had some. We have visually impaired in Jos who's now been able to buy a computer, and he's doing Braille, translating chemistry and physics for the constituency that he belongs to, the visually impaired. The feeding program is essentially aimed at boosting our enrollment. The out-of-school children rate in Nigeria is really appalling. What we have is anything between 10.6 million to 11 million children out of school. And we also have We're trying to boost their nutrition. There's a lot of poverty out there, and it is important for these children to have at least one balanced diet. So we looked at government schools where children, UBEC law says primary school is free, and children can just walk in and start school. We're also looking as part of the value chain, empowering our women in the communities that are cooks. And we're also ensuring that we create a sustainable and regular income for our farmers who grow the food items that these women use to cook. So far, we're actually feeding 7,696,313 pupils around this country. We have 77,431 cooks on our payroll. We send them 70 naira per meal, and each one of them has a minimum of 70 children and not more than 150 children to feed. Well, our task as a team is to ensure that we get to the poorest people, right? In the past, programs just took lists from people and paid those people, maybe as patronage or loyalty or man no man. But now we've devised a method. We didn't have enough funds to cover everybody, and our mandate is to go around the entire country. So what we did was say, okay, for the first year we'll do 30% of this country. So we looked at the poverty mapping at NBS, World Bank, and even the states, some of the states have poverty mappings. We selected the 30% poorest local governments, and we shared it with the state governor. Then we asked the state governor to give us staff within the ministries of planning of each state that we train on community-based targeting. Those people also, we train people from the local governments that we've selected. Then we move into those communities and we hold focus group discussions, asking them, what is poverty in your context? And they come up with, there's never firewood smoke coming out. Those children never went to school, whatever. So whatever they decide is poverty. We say, okay, which households within this community actually fall within these parameters that you've drawn up? They agree. They hold a plenary, and we read out the different lists. The women will decide themselves between them. The men will decide, the youth will decide. Then we put them together and we say, these are the households that these groups have come up with. Where the names appear twice, thrice, we know for sure that those households are poor. We're ready to pay parents whose daughters remain in SS2 and SS3 a top-up of 5,000 naira every month. But you must give us that school, and we will now set up structures. Whose daughters? No, if it's a girl child, some say it's girl child. Some say it's enrollment in primary school. Some say it's environment, it's desertification. Some say it's erosion. So show us the field where you want these youth to be planting trees, and give us the names. We will give you the support. We will pay those families a top-up of 5,000 naira. You see, a lot of what we're doing is focused on ensuring that there's sustainability. And for instance, the cash transfer program, this data is there now for good. Every state can use and access the data. And we have the National Social Register at NIBS right now. That information is available for people to continue to support those families, right? Now, it's not going away. The Empower people are learning. It's learning as you work. So they're taking ownership of their lives even as they're on the programs. Now, if the public continues to clamor, they appreciate what we're doing, they will ensure that there's no government that can come in and say, I'm going to scrap these programs. As far as I'm concerned, there's in the manifesto now, there's no manifesto that says we don't want education, we don't want health, we don't want empowerment. In the same way, we're hoping that the more the public get to know about what we're doing, that any government that comes into power will want to continue the work that they're doing, even because the transparency, the efficiency, the impact we're making, the way our beneficiaries are really being graduated out of poverty. We're reducing our poor indices in so many sectors. So I can remain hopeful because I believe that we're on to a good thing.